Good morning. Let's get to what's happening. We don't have a news report today, but we do have information on the PPI. Wholesale inflation rose 0.6%, much more than expected. On a year-over-year basis, the headline index increased 1.6%, the biggest move since September of 2023. Two-thirds of the rise of inflation came from a 1.2% surge in goods prices, the biggest increase since August of 2023, thanks to a 4.4% jump in energy. Retail sales increased 0.6%, less than expected. Weekly jobless claim filings nudged lower to 209,000. So that's that. Let's go to our screen. Here's our word of the day. Quodlibet. Topic or exercise in philosophical or theological discussion, or a lighthearted medley of well-known tunes. I went to a jazz brunch last weekend that opened with a Quodlibet of some of my favorite songs. So there we have our word of the day. Let's go to the S&P 500 heat map. See what we got here. It's spinning, taking a while to pop up. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me try to refresh this. I guess Microsoft Edge isn't working properly. Try refreshing. There we go. So I'll share the screen again. Here's our heat map. Microsoft is up big today. Interesting, Apple is up big. Most of the semiconductors are down, but Broadcom is up nearly 1%. Google is up nearly 3%. So there was a big downturn with the PPI. Finance is down. A lot of the leading issues were down, but it was a reason to take some profits, I guess. Energy is definitely up. Tesla continues falling. So that's our news for the days on a short screen. And then let's take a look. If you don't want to take a haircut in the morning, this is a good place to be. You can still invest in the indexes. If the indexes go down, you get a zero rate of return, so you don't lose any money. If it goes up, you can actually, they have an option where you can actually beat the index. So if you want to learn more about that, please let me know. Average annual growth beats the indexes by 5%. As you can see, the indexes wave up and down. So once you get to a certain age and you don't feel you can recover from a big downturn like 2008, this is something you might want to look at. And I think 80 to 90% of people should be in some form of an annuity. Right now they're offering a 45% bonus, and then you could possibly get 6 to 8% annual return on that. Maybe more if you are in the proper index. So that's the story there. Let's go to our charts. See if our chart is working. It is. Here's we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and I said, yeah, as soon as we reduce our exposure to UCO. It's going to surge, and sure enough, it did. But it's always good to have protection, and you don't. It's not an all or nothing matter. You can take a portion of it off if it really thinks it worked. Thing to would have been to add back on yesterday, but we just held pat. The dollar index, see how the dollar is doing today. It is gapping up on the strong PPI, bouncing off of the 50-day moving average. Silver, you would imagine being down, and it is, but ever so slightly. Gold pulls back to the 10-day moving average and is bouncing a little bit. Let's take a look at our copper issues. Pull back, but not too much. Here's another copper. That was a copper mining company in Canada. Here's the copper index. Southern Copper had a big move yesterday. Is that actually up again today? FCX got a slight pullback. Vale pulling back. And Real pulling back as well. Not sure if you caught it, but a few days ago, Vale had a big distribution to its shareholders. Maybe part of the reason it was moving down. And this is BHP pulling back as well. So let's take a look. Ethereum and the cryptocurrencies is pulling back today. Actually added some to our family accounts on this little bit of a pullback. We'll see if it comes back to the 20-day moving average. We may add some more at that point. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. Did pull back slightly. Had a little bit of a bounce. And let's take a look at a couple of BitDeer was kind of in the news, and this is Bitcoin mining company. It's under all the major averages. Having a little bit of a pullback in. This is kind of the leader. It's pulling back under the 20-day moving average. See if it'll pull back to the 50-day. And here's the other leader, Mara. Yeah, they're pulling back even stronger. So that's a look there. Let's take a look at the bond yields. I'm sure they're popping today. Yep, their big move up today. Had 2 days of pullback. Oh, no, I looked at the VIX. I'm sorry. Wrong. We'll come back to the VIX shortly. Yeah, the big bounce. So we got a bounce here off of the 50-day gap up yesterday, and then moves above the 200-day, huge move up 1.06%, almost 4.3. Let's think we got the same type of move on the 20-year. We got a gap up, and it's above the 20-day up to 3.44%. The VIX did fill one of its gaps. Came down here, filled this gap right about here, 1366. Hasn't filled this one down here yet, but it has moved up quite a bit. Hit the 50-day or 200-day moving average and pulled back a little bit. S&P 500 pulling back a little bit, 0.3%. The equal weight pulling back even more, over 1%. The NASDAQ pulling back to the 10-day moving average. And I would think the equal weight is down a little more, and it is, and it falls below the 20-day moving average, down 0.73%. I'm sure small caps were hardest hit, and they are down over 2% on the small caps, diving through the 20-day moving average. And maybe Dow Jones is holding up the best. Just pulling back slightly to the 10-day moving average and bouncing a little bit. So that's kind of our look around there. Let's look at the ETFs. Got a big pullback in financials. Tech is bouncing a little bit. Interesting. I am mixing up my symbols, so let me just take a quick look. So we got a pullback in software. Take a look at ServiceNow. ServiceNow tried to go higher and keeps selling off when it tries to move higher. So it's had a huge move though. It's gone from 400 to 800. So they need to consolidate a little bit more before it moves above 800. And here's Salesforce down slightly today. Look at energy. It's up. And look at the oil prices. We could see that earlier from the triple hedged oil, which really jumped. And one of the leaders in the oil area, Weatherford, had a nice move today, up above 114. Let's go back to our list. Semiconductors are going to be hit today. They're down. See if they can come down to their 20-day moving average. Communications with Google and Meta, pretty flat, down 0.23%. I'm sure biotechs are kind of hit with the interest rates on the bonds moving up. See if they come back to their 50-day. Yeah, slicing right through the 50-day on the other one. Infrastructure pulling back a little bit. See if I can pull up Granite. It's one of the leaders. Granite construction is what I'm looking for. Here we go. Granite construction is actually up today. Look at that nice move. That's got a nice cup formation. I think that would have been the day to buy right about here. So that's like 50, maybe 51.34 would have been a nice buy. And then over here would be 52.34. And it's a little extended right now. So let's keep going down our list. Jets. Our airlines are pulling back a little bit out of the office. Strong pullback to the 20-day. Industrials. Pull back to the 10-day. Healthcare sector kind of slicing through the 20-day there. Consumer discretionary. Pulling back to the 10-day. Building materials. A little soft pullback, not too much. You can see it's extremely extended from the 50-day here. Ideally, you'd like to see it come back at least to the 10-day, let these lines catch up. Mining and metals is going to be down. Big move down right here, slicing through all of its major averages, down almost 2.5%. I would assume the home builders would be down. They're down, pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Utilities, pulling back to the 200-day. Real estate, I would assume, would be down as well. Big move down on that big jump up in bond yields, pull back to the 50-day moving average. Look at our momentum trend indicator. It's got a 2-day pullback past the 10-day moving average. And our FANG U is going to have a mixed report today. Yeah, it pulls back to the 10-day, but with, I guess Nvidia is pulling it down, but Microsoft is pulling it up. So let's see what's moving the markets. This is where people are moving their money. Financial money managers only got 5 items today. Dick's Sporting Goods was a big mover on their earnings. Raise their dividends. Big gap up. Huge volume. This is kind of, if you're watching it, this is kind of indication something's going to happen. And earnings were up 33%. Stock is up pretty close to 16% today. In the oil area, FTI tried to move up here, pull back. Volume was kind of muted. This was the big sell volume right here. And on the oil pricing today, it's just really taken off. Nice volume, both yesterday and today. Robinhood keeps trending. I think it was up about 10, close to 10% after hours last night. Was up higher, and then it's kind of diving to the bottom of its move today. See if it can hold that gap up. That might be a good place to add it if you wanted to add it. Later, we're gonna go over how to buy buyable gap ups, but let's just continue on our list. Won't be today, but later this week. Things are kind of frozen here. So we finally got to move here. Quick logic. Quick logic, moving up, not doing too much. It looks like it's a little extended from the buy area. And we got a little problem of finally it moves all over the place. But as you can see right here, this buyable gap up would have been somewhere in this area, would have been a good place to buy. It's holding the gap up, which is a good sign. It just keeps on moving. And finally, our Brazilian, I believe this is a jet maker, aircraft maker, aviation. Right here, the buyable gap up, moved up here. Either one of the bottom of these 2 days did pull back a little bit, and now it's really taken off the airstrip. So it's great when technology works, but when it doesn't, it's a little frustrating. Let's see if we can close her down. So we're back, and let me just see if this is the right screen. Seems like the right screen. No, I think that is the wrong screen. Let me just close this, not to confuse myself. Here we go. Seems like we're having there we go. We look like we're having about the same problem, but it is now functioning. There's our box. It's trading within this box, and today it pops out. So that is one thing that is doing well today. Just kind of look at super microcomputer. A little bit of a pullback, bounce off the 10-day moving average, but doing nothing wrong. It's right up, and as we said before, this looks like a high tide flag. This is doing actually pretty well. You look at another high tide flag. ARM is kind of like in the lower echelon. Everything is acting a little slow. As you can just see, this is lower, looking more like a real flag waving in the wind. It's in the lower echelon. So we come across here, something like that. So that is ARM. Been bouncing all over the place. It's been as low as I think it was 120, yeah, 127.29 earlier today. I think it may have even been a little lower. Let's take a look at it on the 5-minute bar. Yeah, we had a spike right here. Yeah, I guess it was just 127.59. Tried to shake some people out, and now it's back right near 130. NVIDIA, a little bit of a pullback to the 10-day moving average. Once again, not doing anything wrong. Could pull back to the 20-day. We just not sure, but it is just kind of bouncing around. We did close down Twilio today. Got a little bit of profit, so just didn't like this big move down today. May come back, but just never know. Take your profits when you have them. So this is a little swing trading we do with options. Look at a couple of issues that we recently bought. This is company in Embryville, California. We've been talking about nice little cup formation. We'll just see if it can really break out right across here. 130. It's kind of the area we're looking for breakout. It did have a kind of a maybe a shakeout type of pullback today. But new IPOs, they tend to be a little more volatile, and we've just continued to hang on. Another one that had a possible shakeout, recent GLSI, was a little lower earlier, came down to 1677, bought over here at I think 1550. We'll continue to watch this, see what happens. Let's take a look at our list here. Shockwave. We had in our education yesterday. Pull back right to kind of right near where we bought it. We're just going to hold this on kind of the attitude one more day. Had a low of 262, high of 274 where it sold off. We had some options in Elastic, which when it was at 104, we decided to cut it, and it's going to need, I think, a lot more time. It may come back, but it's consolidating, and people are getting out of it based on their earnings. They had expected it to be a lot stronger, even though the earnings were right in line with what analysts were expecting. The other one that we ditched was Indy. Strong pullback. We had taken off half of it right over here, and we got out of the rest of it. I guess it was a small loss. So that is how the game tumbles sometimes. Square, we continue to hold. Had a kind of a strong pullback here. Got shaken by the PPI, but we're just going to hold that for one more day. See how things shake out. Crowd, it's kind of bouncing around here. It's actually on the low right now. It may take some time before it really settles down. This is kind of the box area that we were looking at. It's kind of a crooked box, I know, but that's kind of the box area we're looking at. It's going to bounce around in this box until it decides it can get some little buying momentum. As you can see, when it's going down, look at this volume. That's what you want to see. Low volume. It's got none of these big spikes over here. So I think it's all good as kind of settles down here. Seemed like a lot of these companies spiked up higher today and then sold off. Must have spiked up. The news of the PPI came out before um, the stock market opened, I believe. So I'm not sure what caused this, but Celsius moved up above 100, pull back. Maybe it's a little too far, too fast. But it's still pretty low volume. Kava, a little bit of a pullback here, getting close to the 10-day moving average. And this gap up over here. We'll just see if it can kind of hold that gap there. App, not much movement. That's pretty good news. Meta, a little bit of a pullback here. 490. Not doing anything wrong. And ELF. It's kind of bouncing around, but kind of volatile. Has a lot of moving around, as you can see. Definitely moves around. It is a fast growing company. This is kind of the box that we're expecting it to stay within. If we would go below the box, we would probably cut some more, and we'll just kind of watch it as it goes through the stages. And finally, MicroStrategy. Had a little bit of a pullback here. Last night it was above 1800. A little bit of a pullback with Bitcoin pulling back a little bit today. Bitcoin is pulling back, doing nothing really wrong. It may come back to its 10-day. We'll see if it comes back any further. But that's kind of the story with all of that. Let's take a look at Google. Got a nice move today. Pulled back to his 200-day moving average, and now it's above his 50-day. Pretty good volume right here. And then Netflix, just holding steady above 600. Looked at NVIDIA. Looked at, see if we looked at Tesla. Just kind of continues diving down. How low she goes, nobody knows. And now the app is kind of freezing it again. Let's see if it'll let us take a look at Amazon. Amazon is up on a down day in the market today, so that's pretty good. Looks like it's trying to clear this little consolidation as it kind of bounced around here. So we'll continue to look at that area. There was one other issue that I wanted to kind of profile, but we may save that for tomorrow. This has been Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. So we hope everybody has a great day. Go out and enjoy your Thursday. And I'm going to go out and cut some grass at my other property. So keep working on your goals and your activities. And if your goals and activities are in the finance area and we can help you out, please send us a comment. In the meantime, have a great day.